My name is Katie, and I chose the cerebellum as my favorite part of the brain. The cerebellum is also known as the little brain, and it's about the size of your fist. It's located above the brainstem and below the occipital and temporal lobes. The cerebellar cortex is made up of three layers. The molecular layer, which is the outer layer. This layer contains granule cells, Purkinje cell dendrites, stellate cells, and basket cells. The Purkinje layer, which is the middle layer, contains Purkinje cell bodies. And the granular layer, which is the inner layer, contains Golgi cells, granule cell bodies, and Purkinje cell axons. Together, all the parts of the cerebellum are responsible for coordination and voluntary muscle movement, posture, maintaining balance, sequencing complex movements, learning motor skills, and it plays a role in thought, emotion, and social behaviors. The cerebellum tells the motor cortex of your brain how to carry out a skilled voluntary movement. Studies are showing that motor control and cognitive functioning mainly use the cerebello-thalamocortical pathways, which control efferent messages, and the cortico-pontocerebellar pathways, which carries afferent messages. This information tells the body which direction to move, how fast or slow to move, and the appropriate force to apply to that movement. When the climbing fibers synapse with Purkinje cells and cerebellar granule cells communicate with Purkinje cells through parallel fibers. When these synapses are activated simultaneously, that's when learning occurs. I chose the cerebellum as my favorite part of the brain for a few reasons, one of them being its role on emotions and social behaviors. Researchers found that in addition to motor control, it's also shown to help control the brain's reward circuitry. I find this interesting because of the potential advances in mental health disorders such as addiction and schizophrenia, and perhaps to gain a better understanding for autism. The other reason I chose the cerebellum as my favorite part of the brain is because of my special needs cat Maggie, who has cerebellar hypoplasia. Cerebellar hypoplasia is a small or underdeveloped cerebellum. I'm going to show you a few videos that show some of her lack of coordination and balance. In this video, you can see she has a wide gait. She raises her front paws a little too high when she goes to take steps every so often, and her back legs are splayed. You can also see her high steps in this video as well. It might look like the collar is getting in her way, but she makes that movement with both legs. She's also a little more unsteady on soft, uneven surfaces. Here is another video of her attempting to groom herself. It might be hard to see, but her tongue actually doesn't end up making contact with her fur. She does end up licking the collar a little bit. And here we have a couple videos. This one is of her playing. You can see she has difficulty controlling the placement of her front and back legs. She gets her arms kind of around the toy, but isn't able to judge the depth perception to be able to actually grasp the toy. She's overshooting with her jumps. Her toes, her front and back toes, you can see are spread apart, as well as her gait, her stance being a little splayed. She does this for balance. This is my other cat, Henry, who often gets annoyed at the lack of coordination that Maggie shows. And in this video, you see her trying to climb up a cat tower. She decided to take the side, but she's having difficulty coordinating the movement of her legs at the same time. And I just wanted to conclude that Maggie has a very mild case, as shown on an MRI. It can be as severe as having the animal having difficulties eating and drinking. Usually there's a lot of head tremors going on, um, but they can live perfectly happy, functional lives. A lot of people tend to feel bad for these animals, but they don't know that they're any different. A lot of times, some home modifications to help with the mobility issues, like putting carpets around your house to keep them from slipping, their legs from slipping out, and to keep them from falling. This disease or disorder, the underdeveloped cerebellum, doesn't get progressively worse. What you see is what you get. It can seemingly get better from a kitten or a puppy to an adult cat or an adult dog as they learn how their body works, but it doesn't improve and it doesn't get worse over time.